How we doing, guys? We are back. Brett, welcome back, buddy. We are the Richie Hicks Jr. Show, sports podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me, buddy.
Now, always, bro. Inconspicuous by his absence, our guy Idris Salam. Idris, I think you might have got held up at work, but if you get out in time, definitely get at us here. Click on that link, jump on in. I don't think, but Brett was talking some smack that, you kind of fear him in the start bench cut. Brett's going to 2 for 2, trying to hit that 2 for 2 on Idris. But our show tonight basically would be the show that I would always want to do pretty much any time. But we have a lot to speak on. It seems like every day, bro, every single day, it seems like we're getting a massive deal in the NFL. It's kind of unprecedented, and I think part of the big allure of it is that it also kind of coincided with all the baseball moves too. And I think, I made a quick mention of this on my previous solo show, that because of baseball, getting backed up with the CBA and then finally ironing out a deal, it seems like it's like a deal every day, because it seems like you hear something crazy in baseball and football hits you with another deal and another deal and another deal, and it gets outdone, constantly, which is really impressive. And we're not talking about just, Joe Schmoes and, just regular guys on the team. We're talking about franchise changing players.
These are big time players that, happening every day, big time.
And it's crazy. I found out Tom Brady was returning during my baseball show. It's wild. We all gave him a farewell send-off on the final Jordan Patrick show.
We did.
It was really wild. And he never filed papers. I think he learned that shit from Brett Favre. But he's back. And why he's back, we all know he's a competitor. More to prove now.
It's the drive. It's the passion. The man's a winner. The man's a winner.
They
Bottom
asked
line.
him, what's your favorite Super Bowl? He said, my next one. And he really does live by that. You gotta applaud his family, mainly, the wife, for allowing him to continue to play, because I guess living in Tampa, kind of localizing the situation, I guess it seems a little easier. It's not like maybe before with I don't know, it's different, but definitely I don't think it was any kind of hoax or weirdness. I think he stepped away, really thought about it, and said, nah, I want to keep playing. I'm not ready.
Yeah, it only took him 40 days.
Yeah,
once that 40 days is all it took. 40 days is all it took for that man to say, no, screw this. I'm coming back. I'm winning another one. It's all it took. 40 days.
And it's crazy, dude, because, we have to start with him. He's the granddaddy of the QBs. But there's a lot of quarterback movement that's been going on.
Mm-hmm.
We'll start with former league MVP and a former opponent in a Super Bowl with Tom, Matt Ryan, now a member of the Indianapolis Colts. I like the move. I think with the solid O-line they have, you have Jonathan Taylor, who's vying to be the best running back in the league, trying to take that crown off of King Henry's head.
Mm-hmm.
They did lose one of their linemen, Glowinski, to my boys, the Giants, but, still a solid O-line led by Quentin Nelson out of Notre Dame. And it seemed like pretty much since Andrew Luck's retirement, and even going back prior to Peyton sitting out a year and then getting dealt to Denver, it's been a quarterback carousel. It's like every year they have a new guy. But I do think that's going to bring them that stability. He needed a fresh start. Guy can still play.
Mm-hmm.
I think given the support he has.
Well, I think, you stated it. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, he's the new and uprising star in the NFL right behind King Henry. Look at the season he had. Look at the numbers he put up. I think really the only thing they're missing is just a deep threat, like a 9-route guy. But I just don't know if Matt Ryan still has that arm. I don't think he has that arm to chuck that ball 45 down the fields like a Rodgers or Mahomes. But in this NFL, well, in this NFL, I don't think you really need that. You know what I mean? Especially in that division, in particular, Houston's a hot mess. You know what I mean? Tennessee, they're probably getting rid of Julio. Granted, Julio's King Henry's coming back. Yeah. Julio's they don't. I don't know. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling what Tennessee's bringing to the table. So I think Indy's going to come out on top of that division. And he's got Frank Wright, leading the way, helping him out. So that's a big advantage towards him. He's a quarterback's coach.
So you would say check for a good move, bringing in Matt Ryan.
Oh, 100%. It's definitely an upgrade from Carson Wentz.
And, speaking to Carson Wentz, because it's the same coach, Frank Reich, who was with Carson Wentz, that didn't last long.
Nope.
He didn't get hurt last year. That was an upgrade for him from a personal level, but he did play a stinker, which cost them a playoff berth against the lowly Jaguars. He finds himself on the Washington football team, who now calls themselves the Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
A football team in Washington called the Commanders. No longer a football team in Washington called the football team.
Yeah.
It's an upgrade over Taylor Heineke. Ryan Fitzpatrick got hurt. Heineke came in. I don't have the highest faith that Wentz is going to turn it around. I think it's going to be interesting that he revisits the NFC East. I think that's one cool story. He gets to play Philly twice a year.
That's so stupid. The guy's going to get his butt whipped. Yeah, he's not.
I don't like Washington's roster right now. Even defensively last year they got exposed, but no check there. I'm not a fan of that move. Russell Wilson, that was a massive trade. Russell Wilson is now a member of the Denver Broncos.
That AFC West is looking. That might, as of right now, that's one of the best divisions in the league right now, as far as my opinion goes.
From a talent standpoint, it should be considered the best division in the league. I will say this. I do believe that they gave up too much to acquire him. I understand that he's 33, and that's a big difference from 27. Not saying he's old, but I do think they invested way too much in draft capital sending over to Seattle. And there's more to come, because even with Seattle, they have marquee players that could still be on the move. Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. They got rid of Bobby Wagner right after Russell Wilson. They came into Seattle on the same day in 2011, and they left on the same day in 2022. Wilson's going to help Denver. And I think we're going to touch on this later in the show, but with Tyreek Hill leaving Patrick Mahomes, I think it kind of evens out the playing field a little bit more in the West. Chargers are ascending. There's a big receiver that joined the Vegas Raiders. We're going to talk about him briefly in a little bit.
Yeah, Chargers also signed one of the best corners in the league, too.
That they did, and we're going to touch on that. But I guess we can both say a check for Russell Wilson. I don't like the trade in the sense that I feel Denver gave up too much capital. That is the one thing I don't like. As far as the current roster goes, got two quality running backs, and you have good receivers who haven't hit their peak yet. I do believe that a former Super Bowl winner can get the most out of what they got. They do have talent there. The defense is getting better. They felt comfortable enough to move on from Von Miller last season. Yeah. Patrick Surtain is becoming one of the very young corner.
Their defense played very well. I'm kind of curious to see what Judy's going to do with Russell Wilson. I think that's a great, quarterback, wide receiver, mismatch for a lot of teams. I think Judy's going to have one. I think Judy's going to have a hell of a season.
One thing that I found a little weird in the trade, they did get rid of their starting tight end, Noah Fant, who's been ascending. Mm-hmm. He's now with Seattle. They sent Drew Lock. Seattle, I can't figure because a lot of people thought they would have been in the sweepstakes for this guy. I'm talking about this guy gets a banner.
Do we really have to talk about this, man? Listen, the guy still has 22 pending active lawsuits. I mean, granted, it's the NFL, whatever. They want their money. But he's not going to play at least, 4 to 6 weeks. I'm not going to say the first 4 to 6 weeks, but, at some time that suspension is going to come, and it could come at a really bad time for them.
Well, this is the thing.
I'm not a big believer in this.
It's important to mention that the previous charges that were against him were dropped. That is part of this, but there is a rally that there might be more coming.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is this. Look at what they gave up here. This is what I mean, I'm not saying the man's guilty. I'm not saying the man's innocent. I don't know. And the only people that know are Deshaun Watson and whoever the plaintiffs are. I'm not even going to go there. This is a football show. This isn't a legal show. But what I will say, great quarterback on one of the worst teams in 2020, had a phenomenal touchdown to turnover differential and led the league in passing yards. His abilities are without question. Guy's a damn good player.
No, he's a very talented athlete, really is. But I mean, he also hasn't played in how long? You can't just pick up the game like that. He's been out of the game for a while.
They moved on from Baker Mayfield, who does not have a home just yet. He is going to get moved. We'll see what's there.
He's the next State Farm guy.
I don't know what to say about that. I'm not overly surprised that they're moving on from him because even before the Deshaun Watson chatter, there was a lot of rumors that he was going to be on the move after last year regardless. What I don't like about any of this for Cleveland's future, they have the kind of roster that it has to be like win now mode. Similar to when they took over the large portion of money in the Odell deal. They were in win now mode. Odell, unfortunately, didn't work out there. I'm going to hit on him later. But
dude, the past 2 Super Bowl winners have been win now mode. Rams last year, Bucks the year before. Unfortunately, that's the way the NFL is going right now.
No, I get it. And the era of the super team has definitely arrived in the NFL. But what I'm trying to get at with this is if the Cleveland Browns don't get it done right away, they are going to have a hard time replenishing that draft capital because they gave up an awful lot to get this guy. And it's a similar situation to what's going on with other teams around the league, that everything revolves around a high-priced quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a great example right here. The Green Bay Packers, well, actually, hold up. Before I even go here, is it a check or a no-no for the Deshaun to Cleveland? They got Amari Cooper over there. Suddenly, Odell, I think this is a troll job, but Odell said that he wants to.
Yeah, he may want to, but, the guy, has he even had surgery yet?
Yes.
He's had surgery, so I mean, who's to say he's going to come back 100%? You know what I mean? Like that's a serious injury. You know what I mean? Like,
but the league does their due diligence to see these guys recovering, see them working out beforehand. But yeah, the same knee twice, far from a guarantee.
I just don't know why you would. Why would you go? You know, I mean, unless you have a very large amount of love for the city of Cleveland. You know, you're coming off a Super Bowl win. You know, you still have a solid receiving core. You know, your defense is still going to be top. Why the hell would Odell leave?
The want has to be the same on their end. And like I said, he got injured. I think he could end up back with the Rams because of the sheer fact that Robert Woods is now a member of the Tennessee Titans, replacing Julio Jones. Julio's been invited to Tampa by TB12. There's also the connection in Indy because of Matt Ryan. So I do see Julio ending up on one of those two teams. Green Bay, I guess, has an outside shot because they're going to be looking for more than one person to help replace this guy. I was in the process of getting here. This was a massive trade. I touched on this on my solo show, but now
you really can't replace that man, though. You can't replace him.
There's a couple ways to look at it. In the Brett Favre era, Sterling Sharp was the second best wide receiver in the league, the best wide receiver in the league, not named Jerry Rice. He had a career-ending injury that, to this day, probably cost him Hall of Fame candidacy. I think he should be in the Hall. That's another conversation. Within 2 years, Green Bay hoisted a Lombardi and then went to a second one. I'm not a believer that one player changes everything like that, because I do believe that depending on who you have at quarterback, that in itself does make a difference. Because to be fair, when you look at the drop between the Devante Adams and the rest of the Green Bay depth chart, those guys are putting up numbers that they're not putting up in other places. And that is a credit to the quarterback. You can say the same about the other elite guys in the league, the Patrick Mahomeses, the Tom Bradys. Those guys are going to get C-level receivers putting up, be at minimum, number 2 receiver numbers. Nobody on Green Bay's receiving core scares you, so to speak. But they do have a draft coming up. There are still some viable options. And this is a thing. For a very short while, which was roughly a week, he was the highest paid receiver in the league. Highest paid receiver in the league.
Yep.
This is what I don't like. I feel that Green Bay wins the trade for one reason and one reason only. He's not going to do better in the place that he got dealt to. And they're getting draft capital. The Raiders are not getting to the next level with Devante Adams. And quite frankly, I don't think they have the quarterback to do it.
I disagree with you.
He didn't win with Aaron Rodgers. I don't think he's winning with Derek Carr.
Yeah, but you're forgetting one thing. These two used to be college roomies. These two have a history together. These two have chemistry. The man bought a house next to Carr. Dude,
and it's been a lifelong dream for him to play for the Raiders. As a kid, he was a Raider fan. I get it.
I mean, that's like Brady playing for the Niners. You know what I mean? Like, it's just he's going to do well, and I think he can take them to that next level. Absolutely, I do. I really do. 100%. If Carr stays upright, I mean, Carr's got it just as much of a cannon as Aaron Rodgers does.
No, he does
not. You don't think he can chuck that ball down the field 60 yards on a dime?
I'm not even going to pretend to get those two confused in the same sentence.
He can do it.
He does not have the arm that Aaron Rodgers has. I'm going to just pretend that you didn't say that.
You don't have to pretend. We're live, baby. You don't have to pretend. I said it.
We're gonna move this over. Getting past some of this. Well, this is the thing. Devante with the Raiders, it opens up big play potential for Darren Waller. He's obviously one of the better tight ends in the league. I just don't think they have enough. And like I already said, Devante has been sniffing Super Bowl appearances for the better part of the last 4 years, with arguably the best quarterback in the league. Derek Carr is not that. Now, there's two sides of the football. The Raiders do have a good defense. They reinvested in Max Crosby, which I feel was very smart. They also brought in your guy, Chandler Jones.
Mm-hmm.
So I do like those moves. But it's an uphill battle still, and I also take into account the division that they play in.
Well, Raiders also signed one of my boys, Bolden.
Yes.
Backup for Jacobs. I mean, that's a hard runner, downhill, get those easy short yards.
But even with the additions, I got to be realistic and look at who else is in that division. I don't think the Raiders are better than any of those other three teams, at least not on paper. But, that will be revealed. This is a team that's very good on paper and in real life.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know you're familiar with these guys. The Buffalo Bills signed Von Miller, 6-year deal worth $120. Another thing, I give it a check because it's Von fucking Miller. But I'll be honest, I do not believe that Von Miller should get 6 years at 32 years old.
Yeah, you feel they're paying for the player that he was, not for the player that he is now.
To a level, I'll put it to you like this: he is the player still, but for 6 years, he's not going to be that player. By year 3, you're going to start seeing year 4 tops is where I would go. I would have gave him a 3-year deal, 4th-year club option. They want all in. And this is the same thing to your point as you just stated. Win now. Buffalo knows that they have a great quarterback, one of the best receivers in the NFL, a phenomenal defense.
Mm-hmm. Just got better.
They just got better. And not that there was much question, in my opinion, going into this. But I actually believe that were it not for making a horrendous decision of not kicking a squib kick in that KC game, I think Buffalo's in the AFC title game and probably beat Cincinnati. They didn't. Those are the breaks. But it's Buffalo's time.
It is. I'm as much as I hate to say it, man. I mean, they're a team that's geared up. They're hungry. Now they've added all this talent, signed all these players. They're in it to win it, and I mean they're the team to beat in the AFC, especially in my division. I mean, Jesus Christ, I don't see us coming on top of that division this year. Like we're in the middle of a rebuild mode, and I don't see us beating them out for it. I really don't.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not even 100% sure if you guys are better than these guys right now. They are coming off a season sweep against you. This is huge.
Get the fuck out of here.
They picked up Teron Armstead, arguably the best offensive tackle in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Tyreek Hill goes to South Beach. To join Jalen Waddle, pretty good running game, very good defense, and one of the more innovative new coaches in the league. Miami's coming off of back-to-back winning seasons. They were 9-8 last year. The year before, they were 10-7. 10-6. It was still a 16-game slate 2 years ago. Personally, I think Miami's the second best team in this division right now. They have a hell of a defense.
No. I mean, granted, we don't play against Miami very well. They usually take one out of the 2 games against us every year. We just have we have trouble playing them. But you got Tua. I don't have faith in that man at all.
I really don't. I think you're selling him a little bit.
I'm not. I just don't. Yes, yeah, you got Tyreek Hill, but I just, I mean, I hope they do all the training camp stuff together and they practice together because, I mean, Tyreek Hill is still going to be the fastest guy in the field, and Tua has got to keep up with him.
One
I
thing
mean,
that
that's all timing.
one
You know what I mean?
one thing that you're overlooking severely here. Miami got off to a horrific start, 1-7. Their one win was with Tua at quarterback. He got injured in week 2 against Buffalo. He missed about a month, maybe I think it was like 5 games he missed.
Yeah.
I believe it was 5 games. If I'm not mistaken, dude, Tua only lost 2 or 3 games last year. I believe his record was somewhere around 7-3 or 8-3. Considering that his backup was in there during the losing streak. That losing streak was not on Tua's. That losing streak was watch.
I'm not a fan of Tua. I'm sorry. I don't think he has it.
I don't know. One thing I do know.
I think their defense can definitely keep them in football games and keep the score close. But at the end of the day, Tua's got to be the guy to come up with those third down conversions and keep the chains moving. And I just don't.
What I like about this move is you get a guy that can now stretch the field. You have a veteran receiver opposite him in Devante Parker. Waddle is your underneath man that also kind of plays the Cordarrelle Patterson, Deebo Samuel role in the backfield occasionally. And you also have a guy that's not even mentioned, Mike Gesicki, who's going to benefit from all these good receivers now. Now, obviously, Parker's role is going to be flatlined in a big way by Tyreek Hill joining the team. But Miami did need a deep threat. They got one. I guess anybody would question how much they gave up. And he also became the highest paid player in the league. So do you put a check mark next to this? I certainly do.
For Miami, yeah.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I'm not. I mean, yeah, they beefed up. I don't know. It's all on Tua, man. It's all on Tua. It's all on his shoulders. It's a quarterback's game. I don't think he has it.
This is where I disagree with you again. Last year, without a deep threat, you saw how limited your offense became. Because last year, it was on Mac Jones' shoulders. With enhanced weaponry, a good defense, and one of the best offensive linemen coming over now, I don't necessarily think it is all on him. I think they're giving him quite a bit to work with now. As far as the Chiefs go, they're on the other side of this trade. This is one of many times, and it's going to continue to happen, where they have to move on from popular players, good players, valuable players, because of that enormous contract that Patrick Mahomes has. It was the largest in league history prior to Aaron Rodgers recently signing with Green Bay. I'll be honest with you. I've seen a moderate decline in Travis Kelce this year compared to previous ones. The wear and tear on his body is starting to show. He doesn't have his guy Tyreek Hill there anymore, which makes his life easier. Now, granted, they did pick up Juju Smith-Schuster. I have to mention that. Juju's not a number one, though. I think that was exposed when AB left.
Yeah, he's a solid too.
He's a complimentary piece, and he's good at what he does. But as of right now, it doesn't look like they're bringing back Honey Badger on defense. I think the league has caught on quite a bit to Kansas City. And while I still think they're a formidable team and Patrick Mahomes is still an excellent quarterback, I do think that trading one of your biggest assets opens the door up for the Chargers, for the Broncos. I still don't buy that high on the Raiders.
You got one more team in there. Go ahead, say it.
I'm just being honest, dude. I'm not buying that high. I'm not buying that high on the Raiders, but maybe they'll prove me wrong. But as of right now, I'm not.
Well, your Uncle Randy will be very upset with you.
That's okay. It won't be the first time.
I got you, Uncle Randy. I got your back, dude. I'm right here for you.
My sister's man won't be too pleased either. Patriots lose J.C. Jackson, but bring back Stephon Gilmore.
Mm-hmm.
This is more geared for the Chargers side of things because we are obviously going to touch in depth on your team towards the end of the show. But what are your thoughts? Do you think Gilmore has anything left in the tank?
Oh, of course he does.
Losing a lot with J.C. Jackson leaving.
I think he does have he still has plenty in the tank. You know, he's got McCourty backing him up. We re-signed McCourty and we brought back Butler. You know what I mean? So I mean, he has the help. It's not like he has to be, you know, like he was before. He doesn't have to be Revis Island. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, he has help.
No, I get that part. My thing is, I'm not sure if it's going to be a noticeable giveaway with Jackson ascending, literally entering the prime of his career. Belichick reinvesting in a player who knows that system, bringing him back. Mm-hmm. In the past, it has proven to work more times than not with Patriot history. He has done that with other players. Patrick, for example. Van Noy is an example. There have been guys that have left and come back. Even on the other side of the ball, Deion Branch left and came back.
Yeah.
You know, history is on Belichick's side, but that J.C. Jackson is like, that's a tough one.
That was a tough one for me to swallow. Like, I couldn't believe we let him go. I mean, he had the most interceptions in the league, and you know, he had an unbelievable season last year.
And it hurts you guys on a lot of levels because you're trying to keep pace with Miami now. You're trying to keep pace with Buffalo.
Yeah.
And even the Jets, believe it or not, even the Jets are ascending. I wanted to make a quick mention also on what Buffalo grabbed, just to put it in perspective at what you're dealing with. Dawson Knox coming off a great year.
I know what I'm doing with it when it comes to Buffalo.
O.J. Howard joins him as another tight end option. They also picked up Jamison Crowder. Not properly used by the New York Jets, but a very productive player when healthy. Opposite Stephon Diggs, he could be a problem. Now, this is a guy that's been overlooked during much of the last couple of seasons between getting franchise tagged and just kind of undervalued. This is a huge pick. Yeah. As I already mentioned, Robert Woods is out. Allen Robinson, one of the best tight ends in the league that nobody talks about. And I think a big reason nobody talks about it is because the Bears never have good quarterback play.
Did you say Allen? Did you say tight end?
I don't believe so.
Could have swore you did. I thought you said tight end, but yeah, no, he's a great pickup. I mean, even depending on what OBJ does, I mean, him, Cooper Kupp, you know what I mean? Like, it's just
not what OBJ does, what the Rams do. That's the call. That call is on the Rams.
Yeah. No, I like what the Rams did. I really do. I think Robinson is still. I think he's still in his prime. You know, he had an off year because who do you have throwing the ball from? You know what I mean? Like in Chicago in that division, yeah.
And before that, Mitch Trubisky, and Trubisky actually took them to the playoffs at least. Trubisky actually wins games. I'll make a quick mention of him in a moment, but no, Allen Robinson replaces Robert Woods. That's an upgrade,
he's a big physical receiver. Big physical receiver.
Yeah, still got Van Jefferson, so it's not like bringing back Odell is imminent or has to happen.
Yeah,
but it might. I do think that it is Odell's best bet if the Rams are interested in bringing him back. I don't think that talk with Cleveland was all bullshit chatter, but I'm going to throw an idea at you where I think Odell should go, and where I think they should want him. How about the Kansas City Chiefs? in dire need of a fast playmaker. Now, he comes at a fraction of the cost because coming off that injury, he's not going to get big-time money.
No, of course not.
And if he can produce over there, that would be something because they're saving.
Yeah, I mean, you might, don't quote me on this, but there's potential that you might go to Dallas. Think about it.
I don't see it.
Why not? They lost Amari Cooper. Dak is still one of the top. Dak is still one of the top quarterbacks in the league. And Jerry Jones would pay him the money.
But that's the thing, they can't.
As much as I hate the dick, he would pay him the money.
I'm telling you why he won't and why it's not happening. They're cap strapped. I had this conversation with Elliot the other day. Dallas is not in the best cap situation right now, and that's part of the reason they moved on from Cooper. They got CeeDee Lamb. They did lose Cedric Wilson to the Dolphins. I forgot to make mention of that. He's also over there. Devante Parker might be on the outs now that I think about that. Michael Gallup got re-upped. I get it. Dallas could use another receiver. I don't necessarily think it's going to be Odell. We'll see, though. We'll see. I don't see Odell fitting there. I mean, it could happen, and I would assume that if that was the case.
He's the prima donna type. Dallas would be a great fit for him.
I don't know.
And then
I don't know. I saw Dallas last season as, quite frankly, a team that left the playoffs too early. I thought they had a quality season. Thought they worked really hard. The thing with Dallas is, and this is something that nobody's really talking about, because when people think of the Cowboys, they always think about offense first. Their defense is really fucking good.
Yeah.
And it's a reason why they had the season they had.
Yep.
Micah Parsons basically made Jalen Smith expendable. Jalen Smith kicked around to the Packers, then to my team. There's been some speculation that the Giants might consider bringing him back on a team-friendly deal. He did play well for the month that we had him. But I think it's a youth movement going down in East Rutherford. As last thing on Odell, I think the Rams are still the best place for him. And I'm going to say that the Rams will probably be in the running of bringing him back. But don't sleep on the Chiefs. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Great.
Last but not least, we're going to talk about our teams. I'm going to let you go first on this. And, with the NFL draft coming up really soon.
Yeah, I think.
What are you looking for?
I mean, it's pretty obvious, isn't it?
I mean, is it?
I mean, come on. It is. Are you kidding me? We need that deep threat guy. We need that 9-route guy. You know what I mean? Like, it's just. We need it. We need it. We can't keep doing these, quick in and out, run the ball 50-something times against Buffalo in a freaking blizzard to win a game. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, we need that deep threat. We really do. Mac Jones, I think he's a real intelligent quarterback. I think he'll do really well with us. But it's just we need it. So our defense is only going to keep us in so many games this year. We're going to need that wow factor. We're going to need that deep play to keep us in games, and I don't see it happening unless we go deep in the draft this year with it. I still think we're in, rebuilding mode. I hate using that term, but that's the way it's looking. That's the way it's looking.
I don't see it as a true rebuild. I don't. I see it that you're basically in between. I don't think you're much better than last year, at least going into the draft.
No.
I don't think you're much worse. J.C. Jackson's a big loss, and I'm one of those people that I don't necessarily see the presence of Stephon Gilmore as a fix. I see it more as a temporary Band-Aid. I still think that's a position that you might want to address in this draft. There are a lot of good corners coming out in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
You can never have too much defense. In a couple of games last year, particularly the playoff game last year, I'll put it to you like this. The second and the third meeting with Buffalo. Buffalo was able to have their way in the air against the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
Patriots struggled covering them. A beatdown in Gillette, a beatdown in Buffalo after the game you spoke on when the Patriots ran the ball about 80 times and it looked like something out of Pee Wee football. It was genius actually. But
it was. I mean, a win's a win. I'll take it. But
I think the Patriots are they're not one player away. I see you guys as literally right in the middle of the AFC. You could be a wild card. You also could be on the outside looking in. This draft is going to tell a lot about the immediate future and also deeper than that. Because, when Belichick drafts and when Belichick makes moves, he's not historically one of those guys that always goes for the big bang in the offseason. He's more building through the draft. But, he is getting older. Last year was one of the first times in a long time that he really went all the way in on free agency.
Free agency, yeah.
But they're going to have to get creative because, like I said, J.C. Jackson's a big loss. You don't just replace him. No disrespect to Stephon Gilmore, but I do not view him as the player that he was because wholeheartedly I believe that if he was still that player, the Patriots wouldn't have got rid of him the first time. That's my opinion, though. Doesn't mean that I'm right.
Yeah, I mean it's in that division. And it's going to take a couple of years. I just as of right now, it's Buffalo's division.
Way too early for me to really pick your fate. All I'm going to say is this: I agree with you about Buffalo, and a lot can change in the draft. A lot can change in training camp. A lot can change by the time the trade deadline occurs in Week 8. But right now, on this very day, I think the Miami Dolphins have a better team than you. But there's a lot to be decided yet. As far as my team goes, Joe Schoen comes into essentially a bowl of shit that he has to dig out, shovel out, and fix. Thus far, I like what he's done. He's put some veteran players that are worth keeping on salary reductions with escalator money that they can hit those incentives. Two guys that stand out to me are Blake Martinez, who had an excellent 2020. Unfortunately, he got hurt very early last year, and it showed on the field. We missed him. Sterling Shepard, fan favorite, great guy. He's had so much trouble staying healthy. Once again, team-friendly salary reduction to stay on the team. And I think it works out for the player, too, because he wasn't going to get a better deal elsewhere. It looks like the Saquon Barkley trade talk has simmered down. It appears that the Giants are going to go with him this year. Mm-hmm. James Bradbury has still been linked to a potential trade. There's a lot of good corners in this league, and Bradbury's very valuable in a trade. He could help a contender. Love the guy, but I do think it would behoove the Giants to consider trading him. I also believe that with Daniel Jones on the final year of his rookie deal and with Tyrod Taylor on a short-term deal, the Giants might consider trading either the 5th or the 7th this year to get into next year's mix and think about drafting a quarterback. I do like some of the low-key moves, though. Evan Ingram is gone. He's in Jacksonville.
Thank God.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm not even a Giants fan, and I hated watching that guy play.
Yeah, all the talent in the world, it just never came to fruition with him. A lot of frustrating moments with that guy. He's replaced by Ricky Seals-Jones. Not a permanent solution, but a guy who has athleticism, and most importantly, a guy who doesn't have nearly the amount of drops. Mm-hmm. I love the Glowinski move from the Colts. hasn't missed a game in 3 years. One of the better interior offensive linemen in the league. Opposite of Quentin Nelson, he got overshadowed, but he did really well. Picked up a couple of bills. Brought in Feliciano, who's actually going to be our center. Previously, always played the position of guard, but had experience also as a center. I love the move. I always feel that no matter what team you are, I always think that the relationship and the toughness meter between center quarterback is always so vital. I like it. He started his career in Buffalo. His old man worked for friggin' MTA. The guy belongs in New York. I like it. Matt Breida came in the same year as Saquon. Guy who had, similar to Saquon, some tough injuries, but kind of buried in Buffalo's backfield last year. It's hard to get carries when you're third on the depth chart and Josh Allen runs the ball as much as he does.
Yeah, exactly.
Reliable pass catcher. Kadarius Toney, year 2, we're going to find out. A lot of legends, guys like Deion Sanders, guys like Randy Moss, when they were covering Giant games, have taken time out to say that they like his game. And when legends like that are talking to you, there's something special about your potential. But like anything else, potential. It's not greatness yet. Ultimately, I think the plan is continue to shave cap space and just try to undo messes that were made beforehand. Building a team.
You got to keep Danny Dimes upright and healthy. Got to keep him healthy.
Dimes is in the competition, too. There is no guarantee that he keeps this job. Tyrod Taylor's always been on the wrong side of like a young, hungry rookie, and almost like similar to like Eli when the Giants kind of forced that shit and Kurt Warner didn't play bad enough to get benched, but they still did it. Same bullshit happened to Tyrod a couple of times. Happened with Herbert. Well, that was just bad luck. He got a punctured lung from a botched medical procedure.
Yeah.
I hope he cashed in on the lawsuit there. And also the Baker Mayfield situation in Cleveland. He was on the wrong side of that. He was in Buffalo, took him to the playoffs prior to Josh Allen. Thing I like about Tyrod, I view the guy as a fighter. And I think when you're playing in the Northeast, especially for a New York team, that comes with it. It's not always pretty. That shit's earned.
No, it shows a lot about your character.
Shows a lot about your character. Shows a lot about the fan base and how to win that fan base over. I mean, you see that guy behind me? He didn't win the fan base over because he was a pretty boy or because he was making one-handed catches with 3 layers of gloves on. He won the fan base over because he was running motherfuckers over, carrying them to end zones. It's Shane is trying to bring back the Giant culture, but to also understand that you just can't recreate history. I think one of the biggest problems that my team has made for too long is that they try to do things that maybe Coach Parcells would do in 1986 or 1990. But guys, it's a different era. This is
different ballgame.
Yeah. Truth be told, it's a quarterback-driven league, and it has been for so long. And without having a true franchise quarterback, listen, I've been a big critic of even Stafford, and I still am a critic of him on some levels. But you know what? He was the upgrade that they needed. He certainly wasn't as bad as Jared Goff, But
my boy Stafford.
A lot of money getting saved, and I think what I like about it, Shane's history is to build through the draft, but the Giants are also going to have a lot of cap space going into 2023. And I think that's the year that things really it takes usually 2 years until you could really do a full makeover of a roster. Shit. Your coach has proven that time and time again. His teacher, my former coach, Parcells, time and time again. Now, granted, he didn't have the GM hat with the Giants, but he was very active in the war room. I feel like as soon as we are done with this show, there's probably going to be another move that happens.
Yeah.
You got to way too early, way pre-draft. All right, how's this? Who you guys taking in round 1?
Oh, come on. Oh, I haven't even thought about it, to be honest with you. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really haven't even thought about it. Like I've just been so overwhelmed with the news lately and all these signings and free agencies and trades. Like I haven't even I hadn't even looked. I'm not gonna lie to you. I haven't even looked.
Go, especially considering that you're right in the middle of the draft. I think you're gonna go receiver round 1.
I hope so. I freaking hope so. I just don't know who. I'm hoping it's that kid from Alabama. I'm hoping.
The entire world knows that my team needs a right tackle. But this is the thing. Out of the 3 top right tackles, there's a distinct possibility that at least one of them are going to be there at 5. But this is where it gets interesting. If the Giants are to trade back and say pick 6 or pick 8, something that touches 7, if 2 offensive linemen are still on the board when the Giants pick at 5, I do think they're going to trade back because there's no guarantee, but there's still a great chance that you could get your linemen while also getting more draft capital. There are other teams out there that are in this quarterback craze. A team like Atlanta suddenly thinking about quarterback. Seattle, I don't care what they said. They can't be that happy with Drew Lock.
Nope.
Carolina, another team. They're not happy with Cam. He's not even on the roster anymore. And Sam Darnold was a shit show. There's the Saints. The Saints are still looking. I mean, smart money tells me they bring back Jameis. But a lot of teams are still looking for their leader or at least a temporary fix. And in this draft, albeit in my opinion, this is one of the worst draft classes for QBs.
Oh, for QBs, 100%, yeah.
But then again, can't you say the same thing about Tom Brady's draft class?
The Brady 6?
Yeah. Giovanni Carmizzi.
Yeah.
Chad Pennington was good.
Chad Pennington.
He had a good career. I believe
Mark Bolger was in that too, yeah.
Yeah, those 2 had good careers. But you never know. That's what so much fun is that, sometimes it's a guy you get in round 5.
I mean, yeah, I was going to say, I mean, who knows? Maybe this is, pick 199 in the 6th round might be, the next Super Bowl winner. You know what I mean? Who knows?
I mean, when you're watching a game 2 years ago, this is when there was no fans. Giants get a late fumble recovery to the house for a game-deciding TD. And when the announcers say that Mr. Irrelevant just gave the Giants the lead, it puts it in perspective that every pick fucking counts.
Yeah, it does. 100%.
Granted, he wasn't Mr. Irrelevant with us drafting him, but point to be made is whether you're Mr. Irrelevant or whether you're the number 1 pick, there's no guarantees. And so much has to do with luck of the draw, even where you land. Because you take a kid like a Trevor Lawrence, last year's number 1 overall pick. A year later, he doesn't have that same allure. Now, granted, they brought in a quarterback guru to help fix him. And I don't think it's all his fault. I mean, he went to a very bad team. But then you take a guy like
bad head coach.
And you take a guy like your guy. Mac Jones just kind of fell into a situation. And New England just kind of fell into it. It wasn't like they had to trade up or down. They just grabbed his ass at 15. Somewhere in between, you take a dude like who the Jets got. That poor bastard. It's like you really just don't know. But definitely looking forward to the draft. Yeah, it's remarkable. And there's still more stuff to go down. I mean, there's some big names. I mean, shit, if this was like a 2016 or 2017 fantasy draft, the thought of AB and Odell not having homes yet.
Yeah.
It's pretty wacky when you think about it.
No, that is 100%. 100%.
Yeah, but going to be a damn good draft. Brett, thank you so much for being a part of this show. We miss you, Idris. Wish you were here tonight, buddy. Hope all is well with you. I honestly think Idris just got probably jammed up working a little extra. But
yeah, he's probably still thinking about start bench cut. I would have whacked him anyway.
That's your guys' thing, man. All I can do is call it down the middle. That's all I can do, and just be responsible about how I delegate my points.
Yeah, whatever.
But nah, Brett, great job tonight. Thank you so much. If you haven't yet, guys, subscribe on YouTube. Also, check out the IG page. New logo coming soon. I know I've been saying that, but definitely a tedious process. Want to make sure we get that right. Just don't want to throw anything on. But thank you so much for watching, guys. And thanks for staying up with us. Take care and have a great weekend.
Cheers, everybody. Be safe.
Peace.